Ladies and gentlemen, the King is here, back with another banger. We're back with another episode of Deltarune Theories. Today, Deltarune Chess Theory Ultimate Edition. 20 minutes. Besides this, I found something about Papyrus not moving. What was this one? What was this one? Oh, Jesus. I keep reading RIP as RIP. So I was like, let's RIP them. Got this video left. Everybody in the comments said, do not watch, or not any particular person that's seen in this list, but don't watch a video on whatchamacallit, the Spampton sweepstakes. Actually go through it, and I read a comment, and I'm actually gonna make an episode where I actually go through it. So be on the lookout for that. So, anyways, I'm ready to get into this. Like the video, so I know you like and subscribe to the channel so you can see more video so you know more videos come out. Let's get straight into it. The chess theory. Ultimate Edition. Almost killed my goddamn eardrum.
Welcome to the chess theory follow-up video. In order to get fully caught up, I would suggest that you do not watch the original video.
Okay.
I'll be recapping everything I said in that video here,
Cool
with more
beans.
evidence and pointers towards my thoughts behind the theory. I insist that even if you watched the previous video, please watch this one. The iteration of the theory here is much more polished and refined.
I was going to say, it is the Ultimate Edition.
Let's start from the top.
White chess? Good ass question.
Let me just the elephant in the room.
Mm-hmm.
Why chess? Why not, say, playing cards? There's a king and a queen in playing cards, and king is clearly based off one. Why not this be the case? I've looked into playing card theories, and I want to put something forward. How many bosses can he extrapolate from playing cards?
There's a Joker too. They do have a Joker too.
Boss in chapter 3 a Jack? That can't be. We already have a Jack. Lancer is mentioned to be a Jack card, that's proving that.
Okay.
Okay. What about aces? The many different types of cards. The clubs, diamonds, spades, or hearts.
I've seen them. Yep.
Again, we've seen these all in chapter 1 already as well-defined existing enemies that are already explored. I don't think Toby would go back on that. Especially that makes up 8 potential total antagonists, but we only have 7 chapters. It also doesn't bring up how the knight fits into this, as he's definitely a boss.
Ooh,
some people have just the tarot cards, as that contains a king, queen, and knight. But it's the chess theory video. And Toby has history with chess, as Homestuck contains his own chess analogies and whatnot.
Okay, but that is put in the back of the mind. Tarot cards could be a possibility. We're gonna go ahead and set that in the back of the files of my mind. I love tarot cards nowadays. They're in everything.
Let's go with the very first rebuttal I've heard about chess theory. But this chess piece is in chapter 1. This can't work. Is Mr. Elegance, this fucking NPC over here, the roaring knight because he's a knight piece? Yeah. He uses the same logic to disprove the card theory as well.
You got it, bro. You got it.
Anyways, let's move on from that.
Okay.
The chess pieces thing is meant to be an analogy. I'm going to clarify this right now. The king is not literally a king piece. The queen is not literally a queen piece.
It's just, whatchamacallit.
King is a playing card and queen is computer. Their roles as chess pieces are metaphorical one. As the basis
That's the
of
word I couldn't get out.
Rather than literally being these pieces. It's
The
metaphorical.
metaphors.
With that cleared up, let's go over them. So, before covering any specific characters, I'd like to bring up one thing. Lighteners and darkeners. I saw many people bring this up in the comment section, so sorry I can't mention all of you.
Didn't think about that either.
The divide between light and dark feels
White
like a very
pieces and
clear
dark.
white and black divide. Chess pieces are divided between the players of the game like
We
this.
see it, we see
So
it, we see it.
essentially, lighteners are the white pieces, and darkeners are the black pieces. So obviously, it makes sense that we are playing on the white side of the chessboard. So who are we playing
Black History
against?
Month is crazy.
I don't know. We'll talk about that later. But for now, let's cover
Gas, it could be the
pieces.
player.
Let's talk about king and queen first.
It makes sense.
King is an analogy for the king piece in chess. King pieces don't move unless threatened, and king sits in a castle, which makes sense since castling is a move you can make in chess.
Okay.
That's a stretch, honestly. I'm not going to say that's a piece of evidence. King and castles are fairly related for obvious reasons. What matters, though, is king is not seen for the entire chapter 1, at least until we confront him, and only then to come into play. Something pointed out to me in the original comments by John Lewis is that when we do see king move in chapter 1, it mimics the movement of king piece in chess. They only can move one space at a time in any direction.
Ooh.
So major thanks to John for pointing out to me.
Okay. That's
King
hard.
comes
That's hard.
first, as in the order of the value of chess pieces, it has an infinite value required to be captured for a checkmate to occur. It's quite humorous then that when we do see King in chapter 2, he's in jail in Ralsei's castle. Queen. So, queen is a massive analogy for the queen piece. Wow.
Really?
She's next to one in the
Wow.
value, worth about 9 points. Bringing movement back into account again, queen pieces can move wherever they want on the board, but this is a risky maneuver, and in Deltarune, queen
She
moves around
is
constantly,
everywhere.
appearing basically everywhere.
Literally everywhere. Okay.
Here's something interesting. I like to bring this up while I can, but I believe all the characters we play as or control are analogous pawn pieces for the white side on chess.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen people say the secret bosses are pawns too. Perhaps for the black side.
Mm-hmm.
Why does this matter? Queen talks about making Noelle her willing peon,
Right.
which you can interpret as her calling Noelle a pawn in her fancy queen way, as peon
Right.
is a metaphor for pawn. This matters though, as after you defeat her initially and free Burley from the plug,
Right.
she goes on about her speech about the power of the lightner's will and determination, and then she mentions, "If the knight has taken its leave, then I will simply make a new one."
Mm-hmm.
Pawn promotion. If
Ah.
Noelle is a pawn and the queen wants to make a new knight, this implies the existence of pawn promotion in Deltarune.
That's a
which is
noggin
very
hitter,
important to this
man.
theory. Queen wants to promote Noelle from a pawn piece to a knight to create new dark fountains. At least that was a plan before Rousek talked about the roaring. But you know, the pawn
got
promotion
me.
part is important. Hold on to that thought for later.
He got me. I'm locked
So,
in.
while we're here, I'm going to bring up the knight. The knight is involved in Deltarune in a major way. If
Okay.
I had king and queen characters, I mentioned that a knight characters being referred to as pawns, in distinction of black and white with darker and lightener, there's no doubt that chess seems to have formed an integral part of Deltarune's plot. The knight will have to be faced at some point as antagonist, much like king and queen have. I'll get into more in depth on this section when I review what the future could hold. But there's one more piece of evidence regarding the knight.
What's
The egg. The egg that the man hands to you is actually quite peculiar. Converting egg in all capital letters to wingdings brings you this. Left, up.
Is that the
This
movement?
is a movement path that knights can take in chess.
Okay.
This is yet another reference to chess in Deltarune.
Okay. Okay.
So let's set up a structure now with chess pieces acting as our way of differentiating the chapters. Chapter 1 has
I was gonna say, I know it just came to my mind, and I was like, what if, like, if you, this probably means absolutely nothing, and I'm just, like, my brain is thinking out loud. What if, like, I know whatchamacallit is Gaster text, I'm pretty sure that's in chess movements. Hold on now, I gotta see. WD Gaster? It is. But it's a whole bunch of, okay. For a second, I thought it's just a whole bunch of random characters. I thought it was all left, right. Never mind.
a king piece, a piece worth with infinite value.
Right.
Chapter 2 has queen, a piece worth 9 points.
Right.
Chapter 3 would have the rook, worth 5. Chapter 4 has the bishop, worth 3. Chapter 5 has the knight, worth 3. Yeah, the bishop and the knight have an equal value. However, some version of chess place the bishop's value as marginally higher than the knight's. So let's go with that. Chapter 6 then has the pawn piece, 1 point. This leaves Chapter 7 vacant of a piece. But this almost feels intentional. This would mean Chapter 7 is going to be a surprise. It could be an analogy either to the chessboard itself or us, the player.
I was gonna say,
As we do make
player
chess
is what
pieces
I'm-
move after all.
You know?
It's really either or. There's no way to make guesses here, as it's way further in Deltarune's development cycle, and we only have 2 chapters at the full
You gotta
cycle.
think a curveball and do a timer. You know how they slap the timer every
Just
time
so
they
I don't
finish
have to say
making a
chapter
move?
3 antagonists over and over again. Let's refer to him as Mike. That's the commonly accepted theory, with secret bosses hinting at future chapters and it carrying over into Spampton. We're going with the assumption that Mike is a Chapter 3 boss, but we can't know for certain. So Mike is the Rook. We've heard Mike referred to as a criminal by Spampton and is also called a game show host.
Okay.
Considering the Chibi chapter is up next, that feels important. It's also worth noting that calling someone a Rook means you're calling them a cheat. And this is a big stretch,
Ooh.
but Mike Rook being the full name of the character sounds a lot like
okay.
calling them a crook, basically calling them a criminal. This
Okay.
comment by Matthew Orozco, sorry if I pronounced that wrong, explains how we can see this game show type personality translated the mobility of rooks in chess.
King, slow moving and weak, only moves when life threatening, much like the King of Spades Castle. Queen can move almost anywhere, unburdened and strong, just like how Queen actively rushes at any opportunity to meet up with the Lightners. Rook, high mobility, but has a linear path that is always capable of being seen. Mike will constantly be out in the open to the team, but will often bar their path. If the game show host characteristics becomes canon, with probable game show, but the player may find ways to find blind spots to evade him. Bishop only moves diagonally, never in straight lines. The bishop will most likely be in the background at all times, like King. Unlike King, he will most likely be will contact you indirectly via security cameras or maybe unholy omnipotence. Probably will fight using underhanded tactics because of physical weakness. The knight usually present but always just out of range. Holy fucking shit! He was present in the computer room, but okay. Knight moves in. Knight move in an I shape. They are present, but pawns can't. So was Papyrus too. I'm just gonna say that. So is Papyrus. Usually present, but always out of reach. If you go to his house, he's always there, but he's always out of reach. Because we can't get in the house because we're not breaking and entering. They are present, but pawns can't reach them lest they misstep. Pawns can only move forward, never backwards. Oh, I like that. I like that. I like that.
High mobility, but with linear path capable of being seen. He explains his crime at the mic being constantly out and open to the team, but always barring their path, like with game shows. This contribution to the theory is insanely good. I'll be referencing the other ideas a few times throughout this video.
Okay.
This is all assuming that Mike is even the antagonist. We have to see how things develop. Chapter 4 is strange. There's little pieces of evidence that exist in terms of what it could be, but obviously we have no clue. This is the chapter beyond the chapter that hasn't even come out yet. But I believe it's possible to piece things together. Chapter 2 features some unused content from Chapter 3, notably the doors to Queen and Rousey's rooms to be used in Chapter 3. And we have a lot of items that are currently unobtainable through normal means. Though one item sticks out.
What is that?
Sean mentions that we need the Shadow Mantle in order to take down the next Shadow Crystal holder.
Talking after giving them 2 shadow crystals. You have collected 2 shadow crystals, but don't let your guard down. I feel the next opponent may be, In reality, it may be impossible to win unless you use the power of the Shadow Mantle. Here, it may look like an old scrap of cloth, but I can't find it. Did someone take it? Haha. Well, now there goes your one chance at victory.
The item I'm mentioning in particular is the Sky Mantle, very likely the evolution of the item after the Chapter 3's secret.
A cape that shimmers fluorescently, protecting against electric and holy attacks. What the hell?
Boss. The Sky Mantle descriptor mentions that it seems to protect specifically against holy attacks.
I was going to say that's really specific.
Deltarune, indicating future chapter content. If
yeah,
chapter 4's
elements
boss
and shit.
Is analogous to the bishop, a piece in chess related to religion. We have an interesting argument.
Yeah.
There's clear but subtle religious imagery throughout Deltarune Chapter 2, all being seen through Noelle. She's depicted as an angel in the Dark World, with a family that's clearly based on Christmas. And she's literally depicted like Jesus on the cross before the Giga Queen fight.
True, we've seen
There's
that.
some religious undertones of the holiday family going on, and I think they're going to be important in Chapter 4.
I hope so.
Rudy is ill in Deltarune, and judging from the scrapped Undertale alarm clock app, we know that Rudy died in that universe.
Damn.
It feels likely that Toby is setting up for Rudy to possibly die in Deltarune as well. Noelle talks about how she wishes she knew healing powers and all. What's interesting is the mention of Rudy being well enough to go to church the next day in Chapter 2. This almost feels like a set up for Light Roll segment in Chapter 3. Once the TV world has been cleared and Chris is able to roam the town again, something might happen with Rudy, and something is going to lead to a Dark Fountain being created in or near the church.
Okay.
Chapter 4.
That's going to be hard.
In Chapter 4, we either a more religious oriented Dark World, which I have some doubts about, or he might go something related to Gerson's books, the Warhammer series.
I said Warhammer. Oops. Gerson wrote an award-winning fiction series at which The Lord of the Hammer, available at the library, was the first book. His history of humans and monsters is on a bookshelf at Toro's house. He is buried in the hometown cemetery to the left of Crystal's grave. His tombstone was blocky and marked with a hammer. On the Gerson Boom memory branch, next to the fencing off area of the cemetery, he is quoted as saying some of his best ideas came from dreams and advice the reader to sit and take a rest. If anyone asks, you're right.
After all, Alvin is the priest of the church and related to Gerson. I think it'd be less controversial to go to a Dark World that has some more subtle religious undertones, without entirely basing the whole Dark World on religion.
Imagine they do,
I think Noelle will definitely be important here. And hear me out. I think Caddy will be too. Caddy, when we talked about Chapter 2, shows level of care for Noelle, warning us to make sure she stays away from Susie.
At some point, Caddy and Chris studied the together, Oculate together. Caddy also at the point taught Noelle protection spells, showing her Oculate finding. She warns Chris to protect Noelle from
I feel
Susie.
like introducing Caddy in Chapter 4's Dark World makes a lot of sense. She's someone who studied their cult, and ultimately lines up with her during the party.
A cult.
Perhaps
Shut up.
even we have a moment with her and Susie having to comfort Noel after Rudy's state becomes beyond saving. A lot of potential avenues here for Toby to explore. Having gone with the Bishop, referencing Matthew's comment again, it's possible to translate the Bishop, a character that only moves in diagonals, insists on earning a black piece can only move around the same tile color as Deltarune. Through being a character that looks in the background, similar to King, but unlike King, being able to communicate with some sort of omnipotence, whether that ends up being magical or technological.
Chapter 5.
The ninth chapter. I'm gonna be honest, there's nothing I can figure out here. Maybe that's a good thing.
Yeah?
Light is the big bad with Deltarune, responsible for opening up the fountains, or to bring up the warring, all that jazz. But there's nothing we have yet that can show what we'll see in the chapter. Perhaps the bunker will serve as the home of the Dark Fountain in this
Hopefully.
chapter? Evidence related to this chapter might come about with chapters 3 and 4, but all those released together alongside chapter 5. Hang on a minute. I think the Knight being the chapter 5 boss makes sense.
Really?
Toby is going to release chapters 3, 4, and 5 as one big package for the next part of Deltarune.
Really?
Absolutely
Damn.
provide an incredible sense of finality to the Knight in chapter 5 and finally confront them. Let's refer back to what I said in the chapter 2 section. The characters we control are pawns. How exactly will this work when it comes to the matchup with the Knight? Interestingly, a pawn versus Knight endgame in chess actually lands in a draw.
Really?
It seems like this might be the notable outcome.
Damn.
You defeat the Knight, but in reality it's more of an agreed upon draw, which would be incredibly interesting to see play out.
The final 2 chapters. Talk to me, baby. I feel like a timer would be crazy though, but it's just an idea. It is a part of chess, like competitive chess.
I'll be honest, this is a
A
crazy
timer
part.
and player being Gaster or us.
The threat of the Dark Fountain appearing and the roaring would have suddenly stopped. But I think we're forgetting something. Let's go over our list of 8 pawns, traditional amount in chess. Chris, Susie, Rousey, Noel, Burley, Caddy, and Jockington. These 7 I believe are our pawns. Characters that will eventually control through being at our party. And we've already seen this in the first 4.
But Timmy
Burley
coming.
is definitely going to join the party at some point. Halberds, which are Burley's weapon, are useful in taking down knights, and Burley even has a sprite facing towards the right, which is used at the end of the Queen fight if you manage to spare him from getting him out of the plug, but it's specifically labeled as a battle idol sprite. Caddy have already gone over in chapter 4, and Jockington seems naturally to come along as he and Caddy are intrinsically tied together as a pair.
Okay.
But that's 7. Chess has 8 pawns.
So who's
Shouldn't this disprove the theory, right?
Oh, me as the player. Okay.
So,
the custom character. I said that.
The data
in the last
for the vessel
series.
is actually saved in Deltarune if you transfer your save file from chapter 1. Even if the other voice mentioned has been discarded, Deltarune will generate a basic vessel for your chapter 2 file if you didn't bring it over from chapter 1.
Right.
The trash machine. Considering we saw the trash machine return in chapter 2 based on a choice from chapter 1, it's definitely likely it will return at some point, and this will fill out the roster of pawns, making it the 8th. So where's chapter 6's Dark World going to be? I don't know. It feels like Asgard's Flower Shop has to be a Darkwood at some point.
That'd be
There's
cool.
double doors at the back,
Shit.
and those are just begging to be turned into a Darkwood entrance.
You
Who knows
know?
what happened with them? They could be red herrings for all we know, but there's a link between the pawns and the flowers, though. Let's talk about them. The colored flowers in Asgard's shop are golden flowers, and those are quite referential to the human soul traits in Undertale. If we have 7 characters, that's 7 flowers. I refer to these as flower traits for brevity to separate this from Undertale. I tried to mix and match the pawns with the flowers. This is what I got.
Okay.
Chris would be the plain golden flower, since those are related to the Dreamer family, and Chris is a dreamer. I would say that flower represents determination, but the fact that it doesn't have a specific color represents how determination is a trait shared by all Lightners.
Right.
Essentially, all other flowers build off the aspect of determination. They just have different traits on top. Susie ended up as perseverance. Rousey is obviously kindness, and Noelle I think is bravery. She's going to be going through a lot.
Okay.
She has to be brave to keep going for this and for Ruby.
Especially after
justice.
Snowgrave.
Considering he acts as the White Knight for Noelle throughout chapter 2, I feel this role will make sense. You can make an argument to swap Bradley and Noelle's flower traits here, but I felt this felt more right to me. Caddy is patience and Jockington is integrity. Mostly a process of elimination, some estimated guess from what we know about characters so far. This whole flower trait thing is a rather of a stretch too, and I'll admit, I think the flowers will have some purpose later on. This is my
Hopefully they do.
Where are you going with this, I hear you ask? I got sidetracked, honestly. I just wanted to reiterate this, and I feel like there's a link between the pawns and the flowers. So, let's mention actually what's a bit more important.
Okay.
So, let's be honest. I think what's going to happen in chapter 6 is that we're going to lose control of Chris. There is no boss.
I see
There's
it.
nothing more than pawn promotion once again. With the knight removed from the picture, I think Chris will inadvertently rise to become the replacement, promoted from a pawn to a knight. We know this is possible due to Queen's dialogue chapter 2 with Noel. It logistically makes sense. Chris does not like us, the players in control.
True.
Why wouldn't they take an escape route to free themselves?
That is
I
true.
mean, come on. Chris's Darkwood appearance is literally a knight. At the end of the day, though, Chris isn't evil. They're just a teenager and they want control back.
Right.
Being promoted to a knight means they're no longer a pawn. Our control of Chris will be severed. I think now with a promoted Chris on the loose, the threat of the Roaring return, being able to reopen dark fountains that were once sealed, not with malice and intent, but maybe blinded by the hype of Azrael returning to town, wanting to show him the dark worlds and the adventures to be on. This actively perhaps bring out the threat of the Roaring. Chapter 7. Predicting this far into Deltarune is hazy.
I was going to say.
Beyond chapters 3 and 4 is hard to guess. We don't have pieces going this far. We're essentially running of pure speculation here, besides very tiny tidbits, or no things we could assume. I mean, come on. I think playing as a vessel is inevitable. A representation of the players in chess, the one who's been moving to pieces. A battle.
Imagine trying to kick my ass though. I'm beating you.
Especially since Toby Fox wants us to befriend everyone in Deltarune.
Yeah.
So the final challenge would be making peace with Chris, befriending them, perhaps even wishful thinking.
Befriending the character you've been
having
playing with
Vessel
this
and
entire
Chris
time.
be on the same side of chapter 7. Them two working together to undo the damage, stopping the roaring from occurring. I think that'd be a really cool way to go about Deltarune's finale. So who are we playing chess against? I didn't want to mention him.
I was going to say.
Everyone's saying
you
it.
know, it's
people are
obviously
thinking they were playing chess against Gaster.
Mm-hmm.
There goes the validity of chess theory.
Mm-hmm.
Jokes aside, I don't want to say anything about Gaster. I avoided mentioning him at any point because despite his presence in Deltarune, it felt wrong. I didn't want to bring him up. I just want to talk about Gaster here. His role in the overarching story, I don't think I can or even want to predict.
Mm-hmm.
If you made it this far, you must be pretty invested. So,
you know I'm locked in, but
I feel worth mentioning.
Okay.
I personally don't think Deltarune is a giant chess match between us and Gaster. There's
Okay.
elements of chess, but I don't think it's a checkmate. If so, we would have ended at chapter 1. Another thing, in the original video, I made a point about rooks cannot move until the pawn in front of them has moved.
Okay.
And two commenters, 17 and Andrea, mentioned how this applies to King and Queen as well. King Queen's in
Another coincidence with the pawn. Pawn in front of a piece. Jesus. Theory is that the pawn in front of a king in chess usually helps guard the king early on, which we see in Lancer. Additionally, the pawn in front of queen will restrict their movement until the pawn is moved out of the way, which we can see in Noelle as queen cannot begin her plan until Noelle is willing to help her. By this logic, rook and bishop also need their pawns to move away to be used. The only pieces that can move freely from the start without restrictions of the other pieces is the king.
some kind of guard to protect them. And we see this with Lancer and
Okay.
King. And similarly, queens cannot move until the piece in front of them has. And this would be Noelle. Queen's desire to make her a willing peon makes sense. Bishops are also affected by a pawn in front of them needs to move. But knights don't. They are the only
can
piece
just
that
move.
isn't bound by this rule.
It makes
and how
sense.
about we bring this up too? Pawns can only move forward in chess.
Yeah.
Pawns can only proceed.
Only
just
proceed
like in
can only move.
Snowgrave.
Yeah. Ooh. Hold on. Did he? Oh, he started
Thank
the
you
music
all for
for 2 seconds. But let's really take a noggin. Let's really think about this. Okay. Actually, I want to go back to the comment he put up though. Where is it? It was like a goddamn paragraph. It was a paragraph. There it is. So knight we already did. Chapter 1. Queen is chapter 2. Rook 3. Bishop 4. The knight 5. 6, 7, 8. Here's the thing though. I'm still banking on the fact if this is a chess game, if we're actually playing chess, here's what I'm thinking. He done already said all the pawns, Chris, Birdley, Noelle, Susie, Azrael. I mean not Azrael. Rousley. I don't know why I can't get her name. The cat and the whatchamacallit. The cat. Who was going to say? Jesus. The cat and the snake. Jesus Christ. Okay. I forgot. I think he said us as a character as the last piece. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Hold on. Let me.
So, did you chess has 8 pawns.
Yeah, he said us. So let's kind of think about it a little bit. I'm still okay. So we have the 7 pieces. Chess needs 8. There's still one more piece. Is there people? Hold on. Let me see. Deltarune, classroom. Is there literally anybody else that it could possibly be? I mean, it could. Did not mean to open. Hold on. Open image in new tab. There we go. I mean, there's still like wait. Okay. So if we're going. Actually, no. Now that I'm looking at it, this is a row of characters from Undertale, and they're not. When I'm looking at it, when I'm going through my dome, when I'm looking through it, there are not any characters that are from Undertale that is in the Dark World. There's nobody. There's nobody. Okay, wait, it's 6. Am I tripping? Why am I tripping so badly? Oh, because Rousey isn't in the classroom. Jesus Christ. So if there is another character, if there's a, I feel like but us as the player, but us being somebody, it makes sense, right? But like, we have to enter, like, I feel, okay. I'm getting mixed up with my words. Hold on. So, if 8 pawn pieces, including us, king, queen, jack, I mean, not jack, what is it? Let me get the paragraph. I can't think what on my paragraph. King, queen, rook, bishop, and the knight, right? We're playing against Gaster, so I can see myself as the 8th pawn, and I'm the player myself, because, you know, actually, okay, if I put it like that in my head, then it makes more sense for some reason. I'm in the game, but I'll still have control over my body, right? I still feel like the player, I mean, there's two, like, the player, and I feel like, I swear, if we're going, you know, if we're putting all our cards into chess, I feel like a timer is a like a big candidate. I feel like it because it's a prominent piece in chess. You only have, I think, how much time does each person, I put persona person, get in chess? Did I get an hour? Or am I tripping? How much long would it take to, what? How much time in a chess game? 120 minutes for the first 40 moves, followed by 60 minutes for the next 20 moves, and then 15 minutes for the rest of the game with an end. Okay. That's why niggas be speeding up towards the end of a chess game. They be like, boom, tick, tick. So, if we're going based on actual chess, you only have so much time on your turn. If we're really locking in the chess for real. Now, how would that like, I'm honestly looking at it as a chessboard, even though we're saying we're not looking at it as a chessboard. If we're really looking at it, I'm saying Gas is the player, I'm the player. We have all the special pieces in the back. We have all the pawns, including me, and we have the timer on the side. And I feel like not necessarily that me and Gaster are playing. I'm gonna say me. Us and Gaster, I feel like that's not correct English. Me and Gaster are playing against each other. If we're not playing against each other, or we're playing against each other. Now, if we're putting Spamton and what's his face in the game as well, I mean, they don't really fit. They really fit more into actually, TV advertisement and a Joker. That's where I was getting the card from, like the tarot cards. But like, it doesn't really match up. If I would have to literally deep dive into this game myself to really like try to match things, like put shit together, because the tarot cards have been showing up in my vision a lot. Everything I'm playing, everything I'm reading, tarot cards have been popping up a lot, and I'm thinking, this got to connect with something in my life or anything. But he really did make this a lot of sense. But I'm more excited for the bishop than I am the rook now. Because I want to know how far Toby wants to take this religious perspective into this game. How much are you really going to do? How much do you really want to do? Like, you can, either way, I feel like it'll be very enjoyable. Are you going to kind of like teeter on the line of like, are you going to, what is it? Push the line? Step over the line? I forgot what it's called. how far are you willing to put, like, how far are you gonna push it? Because I know it's gonna be great either way, and it is gonna blow my mind regardless. Okay, but I do want to see. Actually, I think I was like, my hypeness for the night was like kind of up there, but I really want to see what you're gonna do with the bishop. Like that's I think that's the one I'm most looking forward to see. End of the game is cool, but having the bishop moving diagonally, being omnipotent, it's one thing. And I was thinking about this again. I said in like the other videos about how we're gonna continue on using the Snowgrave route. There has to be an ending. Of course, Deltarune is gonna have multiple endings. There's gonna be the straight and narrow ending, but I wonder if Snowgrave is gonna lead to. I keep on wanting to call it the rumbling. The rumbling. Jesus, why does the rumbling? Jesus, the roaring. Jesus Christ. But what if Snowgrave leads to the roaring actually happening? And I do wonder. I'm very. That's two things I'm intrigued with. Because base game is base game. I'm gonna enjoy it regardless. I know it's gonna be fruitful. I know it's gonna be funny. It's gonna be everything that I personally want it to be, because Toby, that's just how he works. He hasn't disappointed me yet. I've yet to be disappointed. I love every game he's put out. Every game I've played that he's put out. Okay, probably other games I haven't played yet that he's made. I actually don't know. I'll look that up. Anyways, I wonder how Snowgrave. The two things I'm looking forward to: how Snowgrave up is gonna look, like anything that has to do with Snowgrave that he's gonna continue the story with, and how the bishop story is gonna turn out. Those are the two things I anticipating for, and I would love to see. I want to see how Okay, y'all get it. Anyways, that has been the chess theory. Other than that, I'm keeping the spamtum. Hold on, let me make myself a little bit smaller. I'm keeping the spamtum like thing here, so I'm always reminded. Other than that, let's rep Deltarune, and something I found, Papyrus never moves. But other than that, that's all I got for you today. Tune in next time for some more Undertale and Deltarune. Like if it's on, like and subscribe to the channel. You can see more. Bring the best in my videos come out. Comments any other video edition I have. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Twitch. Keep it live all the time. People, KingRosé. Out of here.